Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Squid Trades with Infinite Money Trading coming to you on August 12th. Tonight we're going to be doing some chart requests for our premium members. For those that don't know, we do a paid membership to one section of our Discord for $40 a month. With that comes our real-time alerts, a smaller chat room that's less clogged and a little more active for the users who are taking their trading a bit more serious. We also do real-time alerts, charts, like I said, the chart requests. So to get things started tonight, we're going to be looking at Wiz's Disney chart. For the sake of convenience, I've already prepped the chart, put in a channel which has been forming since March all the way to now. I've also noted that we do have gaps that have yet to fill back from March on the drop down, as well as a gap more recently at the beginning of August for a gap up. Now where we see the price right now is kind of trading in between these two gaps. It's kind of approaching this top line, sitting around, what do we got, 134.49 is where I have it. So 134.50 we can eyeball it to, and then below we got something like 124.15, so ballpark 124. So 124 to 134.50 is where this price has been trading in. As we try to preach, buy at support, sell at resistance, you're kind of in limbo right now in between this little channel. It doesn't make sense to enter right here, just because we could very easily get rejected at the 134.50 line, and then even if we do break through, the thought process is you only have, let's see, an extra 3% in there, so you're risking all that money just for a little bit of gain before experiencing another round of resistance up at these levels, and then even past that you're just approaching another channel. So I think the risk reward here for entering Disney right now isn't worth it, especially since you did have institutional buying pushing the price up, so they're going to be taking at least anything that these guys bought in at. They're already up 8-9% if they get there on Disney, so at this point buying into me, it says you kind of already lost. So what I would personally do is I'd wait for the RSI to kind of sink back down into this 40 to 60 range before even touching it. You see the MACD kind of mimicking where we stood in the beginning of May, where we kind of had a gap up, and then we rose up and it dropped right on that converging spot. So kind of see similarities in the chart at these 2 points, and then you can look at what happened. Even though we rose up again, might have been able to swing it, we then took a 15% hit back to the bottom. So Disney right now is something I would probably consider maybe trying to buy at the bottom of this channel, and even then you have a little bit of a gap to fill, so it is very possible that we kind of fall back down out of the gap for a second before rising back up into the channel. There is a lot of other things surrounding Disney right now. I mean, they own ESPN. College football kind of seems to be in limbo. I saw the vice president pushing that players want to play. A lot of players say, hey, why are we risking your lives for you guys? And then the other counterpart is how much money is going to be lost in the stands, and is it worth it for everyone to play? So if that kind of goes away, you see a lot of lost ad revenue and a lot of money lost with the college football season if it doesn't pan out. So I think a lot of things are up in the air. Kind of surprising to see Disney gap up. I'm sure there was some other news that might have been missed, but noting that the earnings, if it loads, was the earnings surprise almost a loss of $2 a share, which is pretty big. If these numbers are accurate, sometimes TradingView isn't 100%, so we'd have to double check it. But kind of crazy. Disney's just still climbing. I saw some park news come out that says that they were going to get more stuff back into the parks, but yeah, nothing doing. I would try to look for an entry maybe back around 118. That's I guess 119, 120. That kind of seems like a good support area. It just doesn't make sense to buy up here, so that would kind of be the game plan if we were gonna enter Disney at this current point in time. So if we drop back to the requests, I'm going to take out this chart. And we'll move on to the next one, BFRA. That is not one I'm too familiar with, but you know, we're going to do it. It's one of the things I love about charting these things is half the time I'll get charts that, you know, never seen before. So I'm already seeing BioFrontier sponsored ADS. Each share represents 2 ordinary shares. So clearly this stock is an ADS and it's in some other country, so always fun. Cool. The fuck. So this is one almost looks very penny stocky, which means we get to go digging, and this is kind of what this is what happens when I get penny stocks and we try to chart them on Twitter for people, and then we kind of just have to go like, what the fuck is going on here? So time to play detective. Let's see, we got volatility halt. All we're seeing is volatility halt. So let's figure out what the fuck they do. BioFrontier, front page news. Let's go. BioFrontier AG in Germany. So, alright, 2 shares of a German stock. Perfect. Markets. Market watch. Don't want to touch stock twits because it's always just bullshit. Start with the Yahoo Finance. Where does this take us? BioFrontier AG announced a subscription price for 1% qualified subordinated mandatory convertible bond. Meh. BioFrontier AG resolves issued bonds. Right, so a lot of stuff about the bonds. Confirms financing need. That was last month. So I'm assuming this might have just hit. Who is this? C-Trader. C-Trader, if you're watching this, I'm assuming this just hit your scanners. So usually what happens if I'm just trying to run through charts and I don't see something right away, let's just move back to the charts and see if, since this is on the daily, let's see if we can find anything, because clearly this is stupid dumb. Alright, so just off the bat, something to notice. I see a lot of these things and a lot of people come out with these charts. You see a little bit of volume, but when you look at the volume, you're only seeing about 1,000 shares as the average over here. At any given time, only like 200 shares being purchased, which is just kind of crazy. But you're seeing like the needle does not move, which just means like there's no volume on these. It's hard to get traction. So just one thing I try to stay away from if I'm going to try to enter something like these. It just doesn't really make sense because a lot of times you just won't get the fills that are there, and you'll wind up having to buy in a bit higher, sell for a little bit lower if like you're really trying to get filled. The stock just looks kind of off to me from the get-go. Let me just take out some after hours. Sometimes trading views a little bit weird with all that. Intraday, August 6th, 10th, 11th. Yeah, so this is just kind of a little wonky. Don't really understand it, but again, doing it for the people. I gotta remember this is 2 shares too, so the 15-minute doesn't offer much help. 30-minute getting better. 45-minute. Alright, we'll go with the hour. So See if the fibs help us at all. I don't think they will. This is one of those ones where I just want to give up and say no, but doing the live YouTube stream, don't want to be that guy. So CHWY, thank you very much. To the high, we got 47.68. Let's be exact when we're doing this one. 47.68. We'll just start from the base to the run up. You know, kind of fibs kind of help just put lines in, try to find some price points. We see kind of double rejection at this 38.76 back to back, and then we're kind of trading right below the 618. And again, these numbers don't really mean too much when you have no volume, but again, it just kind of helps try to figure out where you're sitting with support and resistance. Definitely something around the 21, 22 range would be a decent spot for a bid, it looks like. Again, I don't know why you would play this when there's so many better plays, but again, if there's news I missed, which obviously I clearly must have, definitely something that you might be privy to that I'm not. So, just going off the facts, honestly, might try to get in. I mean, even at 15, it just tanks and then sits and then pops up again. I don't know, maybe put some bids in at 16 and then, you know, hope for the best, or even at 21.92 if you're feeling a little more risky. Clearly, there's really no floor until you're back down around the $6 range. I honestly just wouldn't touch it unless, you know something I don't. But those are kind of the levels that I'm seeing, is getting rejected up around 40, maybe a buy around 22. But, I mean, it doesn't even it's just stupid for me to say this, because at this point, like, you know, I'm giving you 40% in between the two. So, not to say that I don't want to chart this, it's just nearly impossible to actually get anything out of this. And also considering it's an ADS for 2 shares. So I mean, CHWY, when you're watching this, just message me. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe there's news. You know, if you know something I don't, let's ride this to a million. But on to the next one. TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor. Because everyone wants to go take vacations through a travel agency right now, right? Apparently, not I. I will go camping in the woods before I have a travel advisor. Better yet, I'll go get in my own car, and I will just drive to wherever the hell I feel like it. Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to go have a vacation. I'll do that shit myself. So a little bit of a choppy daily chart. Like it, clearly we have a channel up. Nothing really doing on the way down. No a lot of charts, including like the airlines, all had this big upwards movement around June, followed by the bit of a sell-off. If just for comparison, because I think it's funny. You know, a lot of stocks are always correlated, especially like travel stocks. Let's see if it'll load. Yep. Okay, so I guess travel stocks kind of got hot. Everything kind of went up. Let's see if SPY. Obviously, I think SPY is different, but I think this is just travel industry in general. Yeah, I mean, nothing really doing. Maybe a little bit more pronounced, and then a little bit of a sell-off. But I'm just going to attribute this to, you know, maybe some positive vaccine news a little while ago. So let's exit these out. That's just for show, just trying to show how, you know, stocks kind of run together, even from different sectors. So, first things first, let us find our channel. Click that up there. I think we'll have better luck just looking at this 2-month channel. I think a lot of things will probably touch in a better fashion. And they do, if everything would just lock into place. TradingView just likes to be finicky sometimes. There we go. Would I like it to be down there? Yes, absolutely. Although, do have a touch up there. So, I mean, there's two ways to do it. Obviously, you know, you have more points down here. Touch at the top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. Would appear to be a breakout, almost as if we were back down at the bottom, which actually I guess kind of makes sense. You kind of see the institutional buyers coming in, pushing the price above. Kind of same thing here. Institutionals coming in, pushing the price above. And with that, you kind of see, you know, all the kind of indicators kind of just move together. You're starting to see the divergence on the MACD, RSI. A little high, not overbought yet, but approaching that territory. Not like anything else in here would indicate that we would see the same sort of sell-off. When we look at the patterns in the RSIs, for me personally, you know, you kind of just try to find the same areas where you would find the sell-offs. For those following, I guess in the paid Discord, we kind of did this with Microsoft a couple weeks back, where we saw the RSI kind of bottom around like the 40 range, if I remember correctly, and then it would, you know, get a little pop back. Sometimes that's the indication. I guess here, unless we see a quick sell-off again, probably not. Looking over, it's not really a gap to be filled, so we're kind of safe there. This does kind of look like a little bit of a breakout. Again, we saw like institutionals like push, just to give it the breakout it needs. So I wouldn't be surprised to kind of see this rise up a little bit more. You know, you're definitely looking at different points here. There's really probably going to be nobody sitting up here since the sellers kind of just all left. So the bids up here are not going to get as rejected as easily, but however, I think it would be pretty smart to kind of look at the dollar ranges as we move on up. $24 range, definitely looking like a next point of contention. Nothing really doing in here since we're kind of just right at what I would consider a little bit of a point of contention from April, May, I guess the June time, and we can just show that with a horizontal line in there. You know, old resistance becomes new support doesn't hold, just comes crashing right through. And again, that's, you only have a couple points trying to touch it, everything else kind of just blew through it. So not the strongest, but obviously the best we have to go off of here at this level. Make it red. Also, I guess to me, this is also one of those things where it's like, yeah, it broke out, but how much further do you have to run on a stock like this? You know, the whole Russia coming out with a vaccine thing, I'm sure, you know, all the travel stocks definitely took a little bit of a gain from this, but I mean, until we actually get something definite, it doesn't really matter. Talking to some people on Twitter, we saw that, you know, if the study that happened was probably only a couple hundred people. I think they said they skipped the phase 3 trials. So, I mean, knowing Russia, they just have to beat us at everything. So, expect the U.S. to come back and counter and say we have the vaccine, not them. At the end of the day, personally, I don't think anybody has the vaccine yet. So, you know, to be determined, I guess. But if we're going to look for a buy, obviously what goes up must come down. and TripAdvisor doesn't seem to come down too steeply. So probably would be looking around the $20 range. I'm sorry, not the $20 range, the $21 range. From what you can see here, there's a lot of price action in that area, and if it doesn't hold up at this middle levels of the channel, then obviously further down. And I'm looking a couple days later, because obviously I don't anticipate it to just come straight down. I like to look, be realistic about where it's probably going to land. So probably right around $21. I probably get some bids in, maybe catch a swing off of it. Just doesn't make sense to, unless you can get a push above this $23-24 range. I think your gains are going to be pretty limited. Yeah, 5% is what you're risking to buy before you even get through what I would deem to be a previous level of resistance. So again, maybe just hold off a couple days, put it on your watch list, put some alerts for prices in whatever app you're using, and we'll go from there. If you guys see something I don't, definitely give me a comment. Alright, 2 more down. Let's delete these out. Gonna make everybody watch tonight, not post. Ford. And of course we got the puppeteer hands going behind it, which is always hilarious. Ford has just been a little meme stock in our Discord chat, just because we have a couple people just continually scalping it for profits. Everybody knows Ford isn't going anywhere, but at the same time it's not going anywhere, meaning up or down. I think I have some fibs, I do. Just kind of charting the last move from the top to the bottom and getting the bounce back up. Definitely saw the rejection around the 732 area, which was a great spot to get rejected at. We saw it I guess you can count that as a little bit of rejection, but the second time very hard. Clearly no bids were at this top 775 area. As you can see below, RSI is kind of cooperating as well, sticking in the upper side. Not overbought, but it's clearly kind of in the range. You see the SMI doesn't really tell much of a story either, just kind of follows the chart pattern that we're at. Nothing really doing. I do think that if you were going to try to put a bid back in, you might have some good success around. Well, we're at 651 there, but if you definitely want to get a fill, maybe like 660, anticipate coming down a little bit. Clearly there aren't really any bids between the 650 and 622. Maybe stops a little bit in this range, but it just doesn't make sense that we're going to drop all the way back down, in my opinion, unless something drastic happens. So with that being said, if you're looking for a little bit of a swing, maybe get some bids in around 665 ish area, or even, I mean, if this channel continues upwards, it can always do that as well. Have to consider every option. It's very possible it could bounce at this 618 around $7. That would make sense with a lot of retail in there. Everyone wants a piece of the pie, so there might be some bids in there as well. So if you do have puts already, maybe consider selling some of them, taking some profit off the table, but I would anticipate eventually in a few days getting back down to the 675 level, no problem. Really not much going on with the spot with Ford. It's just not my cup of tea. I know there are some people who don't have the PDT rules, and again, scalping's fine. Just swinging back and forth is definitely a great strategy with this one. The movement's very little, but it's very easily calculated. Volume kind of stays around the same area, other than the occasional drop down. That's usually what we see, but it's just not a big mover, so easier to make money and risk less if you're still unsure of what you're doing. A good practice stock. see. Catnip is requesting YETI, and I'm just gonna ban him because I hate YETI. Nobody needs a $300 cooler. Go get some styrofoam, some duct tape, make a box, and I have my YETI cooler. That's all I need. Alright, so just to show you what I did with YETI, tried to do what I did with Disney, and it didn't work out as well with Disney as it does with YETI stock. Bounced it out to the 1 week before I made everything. Clearly there was a decent channel occurring pre-Corona drop, and for whatever reason, you know, once we dropped, everybody wants to be outdoors and purchase $300-400 coolers with our stimulus check. So this was definitely a valid move. I fully support YETI just skyrocketing like that. Not really. I don't think it should be that high. But whatever. It's the market. Stocks are going to go up. Stocks are going to go down. I'm not going to fight it. That's one thing everybody needs to go learn, is to not fight the stocks. Just go along with it, because we're all here to make money. So yeah, let's look at the weekly. Not the weekly. Let's look at the daily now. Alright, let's delete out this little channel, try to make it cleaner for those at home. So yeah, so one of the things we did note on the YETI stock is when playing with the Fibonacci's, one of my favorite things to do is try to find stocks that start a trend and bounce back to what I consider the 618. For those who join the Discord, there is a Fibonacci book in there. I highly suggest you read it. It does suggest that you look at moves within moves just to try to find where stocks are going to bounce. And in this case, we kind of saw this first run lead into this drop to $33. And from 33 we ran all the way up to 45, and a slight healthy pullback to what would be the 618 fib to around $40.50. And when that happens, usually the smartest thing to do is buy if it can push above the 786 fib. Put a stop a little bit lower than, just because, I mean, you sometimes do see stop loss hunting happen, or you do see dips, so there's no reason to get stopped out. But if it does bounce, it usually becomes a bullish signal. And as you can see, if you did buy from what we try to teach in the Discord, could have swung it all the way up. I mean, nobody's going to be smart enough to go all the way past that, but I mean, definitely easy 20% gain if you just followed this fib. But you know, here we sit now, stock's kind of pulling back again in a healthy manner. Kind of see 1 run, 2 run, 3 run. So let's just adjust our fibs and see if we can see anything else now, because if that does lead to a bounce, might be time to enter again. And this time we're actually, instead of bouncing off the 618, we are bouncing off the 0.5 fib. Whether it just be a trend line or whether it just be a point of support, that is pretty healthy to have the run and a healthy pullback. Kind of see institutional buying kind of stepping in, seeing where they're going to take the stock, kind of right back to where we were before. So I mean, there's no reason this doesn't run another dollar or two. The only thought is if this runs, if this RSI gets pulled all the way back up, we're just going to see a rejection again. So kind of what I see the stock kind of setting up to do would be, if my guess was going to be here, I would probably think we're going to see something close to like a double top. Maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't. Let's see, 53, where's 53.50, something like that. And maybe just come back right down. One that's a little biased because I think YETI's really high. Two, I think just the kind of setup that we're seeing would warrant a move like that. That kind of takes us out to the middle of August. Um, just my 2 cents where I think we're going to come back to. It would make sense that we might come back and bounce in the middle of this channel just to continue the healthy run and get us back into the points of, I guess, normal price action. You can also see on the other indicators we're getting whipsawed around on the SMI. This, again, what I talked about in one of the other stocks where you can try to find patterns, kind of see the base here opening up. You're going to start to see the lines kind of converge on each other, which would coincide with that move back up that I would assume that we're going to see. But again, if this does converge and pull back up, we're also going to see the RSI come back up, which would tell us the story that we are going to see a bounce and possible rejection later on. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any news to come along with this. I mean, maybe YETI does an offering or something, get more cash in the door. But I mean, again, like I said, they're selling $200-300 coolers, so not my cup of tea. But I mean, to each their own. Again, catnip, I'm going to ban you if you request YETI again. Dumbass stock. CHWY I am loving just because I think it's a great stock. Put something up on Twitter the other day. Girlfriend's dog passed away. We put a note out to CHWY, and within a few days, CHWY actually sent us a bouquet of flowers with a handwritten note. Not typed up, not somebody's fake computer generated signature, but a handwritten note saying, you know, sorry for your loss, which is great. That's really good customer service. Never seen that in a company before. Not even Amazon has done some shit like that. So, you know, shout out to CHWY for pulling some stuff like that. So this is for those that haven't followed CHWY. This is one of our stocks that we've been kind of tracking. We had a nice channel run. We saw a big consolidation in this area. I thought we saw a inverse head and shoulders. Kind of broke down, but again, still in the channel. It's pretty healthy. And then we saw the move above. And then again, we just saw a little bit of a pullback. I think this is the couple days we just saw of the entire market kind of giving that dip. So again, pretty healthy, especially from the run up. I see no problem with it, especially if we draw our lines out. And again, we can always adjust. There's no reason why we shouldn't adjust our lines to try to find the best support and resistance. Where, you know, you have to constantly change. You just can't keep your lines the same all the time and expect to be right. That's why we adjust. That's why we constantly look. And it just makes us better traders. So I think this 15 minutes is going to be a little too much for my computer to handle right now. It's so much stuff open. A little better. Alright, what is the top and what is the bottom? So clearly something up here. And let's move this up a little bit. There's multiple rejections in there. Yep, it looks pretty good to me. And we'll extend it. Wrong way. There we go. Take this line. And again, this is one I haven't looked at in, let's see, that would have been maybe 10 days. Let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit of a shake right there. And of course, if we bring this out like the 4 hours, I think we'll start seeing more wicks and less tick marks. For simplicity's sake, let's knock these lines out, keep it cleaner, everybody can see what we're looking at. So yeah, so again, we have this consolidation channel, pretty healthy considering the run up that we saw for the past 2 months. A little bit of dip below, but again, caught the bids all the way back up to support, bounced back down, to resistance, down to support. Once we got to this resistance, we did see a little bit of a gap up, broke through. Clearly 58.75 was probably, 59, is that 59? 58.88, point of contention. 58.87, 58.70, a little bit of an outlier, 59.29, and then, get sold off hard 4 hour, or if we want to be even less about it, yeah, still gets sold off hard in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4 in a week. But this is still healthy because as of where we sit right now is price is almost right on that top support line. I guess we can call it the new support if it does break back out. Obviously, I would like to see something probably right above 54, 55. If that support can hold. I mean, if you're not in right now, there's no reason to jump in because at the same time, we could definitely see a rejection. There's room to go on this chart all the way back down to that 48 range. Again, it's only a $2 range, so you're only looking at an 8% dip for those who are swinging and have 10-12% stop losses in. Not my cup of tea if it drops tomorrow, but that's just going to be some pre-market action. Let's see, sometimes TradingView is nice and they will show us the after hours. Also looks a little better when you're looking at the 15-minute, where it sees it's just kind of hugging that line. Extended. It's always a bitch when you do it and it's just completely screwed up. There's nothing doing. CHWY. A little bit of a dip after hours, 30 cents down, so that takes us to 52.77. Let's say 52.77, is that right? 52.77. So again, I guess right on that line, nothing doing. You also catch a little bit of volume at the end of the day, which is pretty normal. So again, this would probably just be a wait if you're not in. Make sure that this can be a confirmed bounce. Definitely a little, I guess if we zoom out, might be able to consider that a bull flag, but again, that's on the 15-minute, so I'm not going to call it anything yet until we see this confirmed bounce. Personally, I do think CHWY is going to continue to rise. Great company, great products. I think their draw is that they can pull away Amazon customers because they can still set up the subscription. The customer service, again, like I said, was way better. Affordable prices. People know you're just not buying some like Chinese dog toy being drop shipped to you. So for a multitude of reasons, CHWY is definitely going to be one of my long-term holds. It's going to be one of the ones that shouldn't worry about unless something drastic happens to the stock. Definitely would keep around. Skip CHWY. Alright, we got 2 from Vanke tonight. Let's do Overstock first just because, well, let's get it over with. First I thought the run up was cool when we caught the run from like 17 to 30, but it's gone too far. Yeah, fucking stupid. No reason for all this nonsense. This is where we this is where we initially charted it, all the way down here, and we thought, you know, geniuses for calling that that pattern. But then, I mean, once it just kept rising, you know, it's stupid. I mean, it's kind of funny to me. I think Overstock was definitely a meme stock, and I've said this a couple times on Twitter. Um, with the whole Bitcoin thing in that 2018 area, when, you know, everyone was freaking out. Oh, Bitcoin Overstock allows people to buy with Bitcoin. Overstock has this huge hoard, and so obviously, you know, people were associating the price of Bitcoin going up with the fact that that would mean Overstock controls such a large supply of Bitcoin. Um, at least if I remember that correctly. But I mean, if we're looking at the stock right now, I mean, shit, history usually repeats itself. It just doesn't make sense for it to be this high, in my opinion. I mean, of course, yeah, they're gonna go shatter earnings, which will just send that higher. Um, negative 69, negative 69, negative 73 in the earnings. Yeah. It's just one of those kind of stocks where you kind of just scratch your head at, and in like 3 weeks, when it tanks and eats shit, and all the law firms start coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, if you bought this stock at, you know, the very top, and you lost money, let's go sue them." Like, no, it's your dumb fault for going all out. But this is, again, purely opinional based. That's all stock charting is. But let's delete it out for the time being. As I've said to my guys in the charts before, it's kind of stupid to try to chart these, especially when they go straight up. Like, I mean, a lot of the most value I kind of give is just, you know, put a line up and say, "Yep, that's a support, and when that breaks, it's gonna eat it." And, you know, kind of true. You put a support line on any of the other big runs. It, you know, straight up drop. Like, Overstock has a very nasty history of having these very successful runs and then just obliterating anybody who tries to buy it at the top. So would have made a good buy for me, I think, down back at 20 when we were charting this. At this point, doesn't make the most sense. I mean, I understand the need for online shopping. I understand the need for furniture to be delivered. I understand the need for all these new houses to be furnished, but I just don't understand the need for Overstock to be over $100 a share. Tons of companies out there that put out the same stuff. And yep, I mean, there we go. Shit. This is just a sign that, like, a company just needs cash. Overstock announces pricing of upsized public offering of common stock. Yeah, of course. Public offering, 84 cents a share. Offering was increased, 1.7 million. Addition, 30-day option to purchase an additional 315,000 shares. Offer is expected to close August 14th. So yeah, unless I'm missing something, like, well, it's at 88, so zooming in, yeah, that makes total sense. I thought Overstock was toppy there. Kind of missed the offering news, just been a little busy with everything else. But again, you're looking at the Moderna of furniture right now. Yeah, just kind of dumb. No reason. I mean, sure, you're probably going to get the offering to come in. You're probably going to have to see all those people that are buying in on that offering. Definitely around the previous top. Not that that's really much significance right now. But yeah, all those people who buy on that offering, you're definitely going to have to see it get pumped a little bit. Maybe some positive news headlines. Everything else just needs to cool off, but not my cup of tea when you have no support, no resistance, and you have a company just putting out offerings, because you're just going to see some whipsaw news back and forth, allowing those people in that offering to make their money. So again, I'm sure not even I'm sure, I know we have other plays that are going to be way less risky than trying to catch this at near top levels. Just a skip in my book. Adobe, last one for the night, guys. Always fun to see stuff that I've drawn previously and never came back to. Yeah, I guess we thought we kind of had a wedge thing going on. Broke out, touch back down, so I'm just gonna remove the drawings on here and see what we can come up with that is not a wedge. So personally, I was thinking with Adobe, like, kind of been sitting, riding this tech wave. Definitely a lot higher from where we stood pre-coronavirus. And I mean, I understand the need for, what Adobe does. I understand that they have a lot of sales channels. There's a lot of revenue that can come from them. But I mean, I also just kind of see them as like a little bit of an outdated source. Some of their products are just getting overridden by other tech companies. They're doing it at a cheaper price. To me, this is just kind of like retail, and I guess this is more like retail buying up the institutional shares at this level. Doesn't make sense to me personally to see this go higher, and if it does, for me to actually buy in, we probably need to see a breakout above that 170, just because if you're buying it at 450, 6% gain, 7% gain right now, actually that's not even 7. Yeah, close to like a 5% gain is not worth it at these levels, especially with a stock like Adobe. I mean, as you guys saw, I mean, with most coronavirus things, a lot of things got halved. I think there's a lot of things for the people in our Discord at least to swing for the stuff that they can afford. I don't think Adobe is it. But let's look. Let's see what they have. Weekly, kind of interesting, kind of seeing that trend line almost, I guess, being broken. Almost being broken. 1, 2, 3. Near a little dip out. Nothing at the top of that to really be definitive, so to speak. Moving average. This is always not the best sign to me when you see these moving averages start converging on each other. The minute the script flips, definitely start seeing the sell-off. So definitely to me, the weekly is looking a little toppy. Just where we stand right now, be a little wary of that. But if we moved over to, let's see if we can do the 2-hour, paint a better story. Get these after hours out of here. Guess you can say it's a little bear flaggy, but I mean, even just consolidation, just because I mean, the number of percentage points where we're sitting right now isn't the worst. So clearly, I guess the trend line is still moving up. On the 2 hour, the RSI doesn't look too bad. SMI almost looks like it's just curling back around, like we're headed towards another bullish push. Same thing with the MACD. Kind of see that. I guess where it flips back, everything kind of curls back around. So, I mean, wouldn't be surprised to see this hit the 460 mark again. But again, would be pretty wary about trying to buy in back around 470. Again, that 470 line is definitely going to be a hard one to beat. Nothing that I would trust. You can see the amount of volume being sold off, and MM's pushing that a little lower. It's just not an optimal chart to go into right now. Again, maybe if you want to try to ride this wave, but again, you're gonna spend, depending on whether you're playing charts or options. To me, you got about a 5% window, $23 from buying a $440, $50 stock. It's just not worth it to me, especially for the guys in our Discord. Let's look at some better plays to make the money. But while we're here, those were all the chart requests we got. As you can see, we got a big list of the charted stocks. I'm going to add the Adobe in here just in case. We can just get on the list, see if we see anything else we like. Airlines, kind of with the TripAdvisor, saw a nice little pop coming back down. I would look for a entry again, maybe around the 1150 mark if you can catch it. It seems to be a good level of support. Again, airlines a little tricky. We're going to see where the COVID takes us. I think the school openings is going to be a big deciding factor for where the markets go. Given 2-3 weeks after, if all the kids just give all the adults and their grandparents coronavirus. But again, that's just the narrative we've been fed for the past couple months, so who knows. Let's see, what other ones was I a fan of? CRISPR. Always a fun one. CRISPR kind of back into the channel. Kind of tracked this wedge. Didn't wind up panning out too much other than, picked a good support area for that bounce. I do like the channel that's continuing to climb in. Maybe would be looking at probably 196 to buy puts if you're going to be looking at that. Wouldn't make sense. Get the 1, 2, 3. If it tries again, maybe a push higher, but again, I don't see that happening. I see maybe it hitting it and being rejected again for some easy gains. Not going to touch any of the casino ones just because they've been all over the place. JMIA, just to mention, because I thought it was a fun one. We found the rounded bottom. If it'll load. This thing was ridiculous. So we found the rounded bottom somewhere, I think around here-ish. Somebody asked for the chart. I think this was when news was coming out that this is like the Amazon of Africa, and out of nowhere, stock just kind of shot up, and again within 3 or 4 days it's back down to, we're at 13 right now, so 24 to 13, 50% loss in a couple days. So if you want the Amazon of Africa in your portfolio, maybe something to try to pick up around the $8 range. I think we might be able to pick it up back there. Nothing that I'm going to swing at, but definitely an interesting one to say the least. If you want to Google it, that's JMIA. SPAC. Since everybody and their mother wants to keep talking about these, pretty fun one. Everyone on Twitter knows that I am a fan of SPACs, SPACs. You have your Space, you have the Nikola, you have a couple others. The one I'm eyeing up is going to be the CCX. I believe that's Churchill, and that's going to be the Topgolf merger. Soon to happen in a couple weeks. So all you penny pumpers out there, I am trading is calling it first. You all are going to be telling everybody to go buy this stuff in a couple weeks, and probably trapping people at the top when it spikes, and it'll come back down until they actually get the full merger going. But whatever. We'll get to that in a couple weeks. But for now, SPAC, Spartan Energy, Fisker. A lot of people see this as the next EV play. Kind of forgot about Nikola after watching it go from $90 to $30 in a couple weeks. Shout out to those warrants that completely screwed the stock. But I definitely see this as the new area to load. Again, was kind of irritated when I was on Twitter, saw a lot of the furus, as you want to call them, telling people to kind of buy in this channel. You just start seeing this like bearish wedge form, and of course, anybody who bought in here down 10-14%, not really fair. I don't like it when those guys say that stuff. Wait for support, wait for a bounce, wait for a bottom to form on anything before you enter. That is the most important thing to continue to make you money. So no reason to buy until you're back in this 12 range. Personally, I was trying to aim for 1150, never got the fill, but looking to maybe hold 100 shares just long term and see where we wind up. See, where's Target? Just because Target's coming up, and Target's been one that we've been tracking for a while. So a while back we had a $140 price target. Just nice drive up a channel, consolidation, followed by a breakout, and it kind of hasn't stopped even though the RSI has been a little high. It's kind of showing that around this area we might see this pullback, especially when the SMI pinches up like that. Definitely going to be good for a pullback. I think maybe 128, even 124 wouldn't be surprising to me for those who are in. Just something to keep watching, see where we're going to stay. If you're in from 118, definitely raise your stops up, because if it does breach around the 130, might be able to re-enter a little bit lower, save yourself a couple bucks, and make yourself a little bit more money on the swing. But yeah, still have the $140 price target for Target, especially where we stand right now. It's kind of seeming like if earnings doesn't hit, which you can look at it what it did last time. We got this huge run up. Earnings hit, tanked the stock by 8-9%. So if we got our 8-9% again, probably drop us. Yep, that would drop us right back into support. So would be heartbreaking to see a bunch of people take a loss. But again, this is why we set stops. This is why we take off some of our position, especially on runs like this. There's no reason not to take some gains off the table if you're up 15% on a blue chip. That's just my personal opinion, but push your winnings. Yeah, guys, it's getting late. It's about 12:30 15. Gonna be heading off soon. If anybody has any comments, concerns, questions, feel free to reach out to us in the comments. If you do decide to join the Discord, I am Squid Trades. My partner is Don Log. Together we put together as much information as possible in our group chat. If you check out our Discord, you'll see in the education section, and it has not been, I guess, tutored enough by anybody. Don has gone through the trouble of creating GIFs, creating write-ups, showing all the patterns of any stock that we have. I guess of any patterns. We do the bear short term, we do gaps, we do the indicators. Again, the man has put in so much work and effort. If you don't join the server and learn something, clearly it's gonna be on you, because we just try to load you guys with all the free information that we can, just to help everybody become more successful. And again, if you decide to join the subscription side of it, we do $40 a month, and that just leads you to a smaller group of traders who are a little bit more serious than just the average Joe who wants to join our server. Again, you get basically me and Don's full attention, and the chart requests, his daily plays and updates, which are all always solid. For every one or two bad ones or bad charts that come out, we have 9 other great ones. People making money left and right. So, yeah, we've got a good group. Come join us. That's going to be it for tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something. This is Squid Trades for I Am Trading. You all have a good night. Bye.